The only suitable crop which can be grown in all parts of China. Guess which it could be? It's filled with nutrients and vitamins. Potatoes! Every part of China is suitable for cultivating potatoes. However, the majority of the potato cultivation takes place in the northern and southern areas. Many associations and governments took vital steps in giving a scientific touch to the production of crops, and finally the day has come when China stands first on the list of producers of potatoes. More than about 22% of the global potato production is cultivated by China. It's not only about the volume, but China is also known for the varied types of potatoes grown with the best quality ever. And most prominently, China is known for its unique scientific techniques to cultivate potatoes. China has special potato harvesters and machinery which facilitate the ease in production in harvesting of potatoes in gigantic amounts. So what is unique about potato cultivation in China? How many tons of potatoes are produced in China? How is scientific touch given to the cultivation of potatoes? These exciting questions have crazy answers. So let's take a deeper dive to know how China has paved the way to be the largest producer of potatoes. China is amazingly topping the list as the world's top potato producer, followed by India, Russia, and Ukraine. Potatoes are a vital cash crop as China is the largest consumer of potatoes. These potatoes are an integral part of the Chinese diet, especially in rural parts of China. Some of the famous dishes in Chinese diets are potato chips and French fries. Not only in rural areas, but these potatoes are in high demand in fast food and processed food industries. So growing potatoes has always been important for the Chinese agriculture industry. When we look at the history of the Chinese agriculture industry, it was a labor-intensive job that took much longer than usual. Nevertheless, with innovation and a scientific approach, China has adopted modernized farming, which has enabled greater farming production and efficiency. The modernized techniques for potato cultivation will amaze you as they are so quick and efficient that potatoes can even be cultivated on Mars using the unique process. Which areas in China are major producers of potatoes? In total, 4 areas grow potatoes. However, the major areas which grow potatoes are the northern and southern regions of China. Cultivation of potatoes in the northern region begins in summer, whereas in the southern region, potatoes are double crop. When numbers come into the picture, almost 90% of the total crop for the country is grown in these 2 prominent areas. Which techniques are the most common ones in China for growing potatoes? Ever imagined a crop grown without soil or water? This is a bit unreasonable as soil and water are the 2 major components for growing any crop. But to our surprise, farmers are using this technique in growing potatoes in crazy volumes. This method is well known as aeroponics. This is the best suited technique to grow potatoes, especially for future farming where resources will be limited and there will be space constraints. This method can easily be grown on the seabed, or Mars, or anywhere without land. So let's glimpse how this aeroponics is helping in cultivation of potatoes. Unlike other methods of cultivation, the roots of potatoes are not in the soil, rather they're hanging in the air. It's obvious that for a plant to grow, some nutrients and water is needed. So to satisfy this need to cultivate a plant, an amazing technique of steam spray is invented where nutrients and water are sprayed regularly so to finally get a healthy plant and fruit. Now, is this a new technique? Not at all. The idea for growing plants with the technique came back in the 1920s, and initially farmers tried their hands in orchids but with innovative techniques. Soon this idea was implemented for root-based vegetables. And guess what? The results are amazing, especially for potatoes. These days, to give a scientific touch, cultivating potatoes is now easier by combining the tissue culture method and aeroponics, starting with hydroponics and continuing the further process with aeroponics. Tons of potatoes can be grown in a stipulated area and most prominently quickly with great quality. Nutrients as desired quantity are added to the water, so with water nutrients get also sprayed on the roots of the potato plant, make it nutritious and full of vitamins. Another advantage of this method is that 90% of water and nutrients are saved while cultivating the crop, and since it's a closed method of cultivation, some factors like humidity and temperature could be controlled, which suits the best plant. Using this technique for the production of potatoes has aided in the production of a huge volume of potatoes. There is a shoot up in production to about 45 to 75%, and these can be grown at any period of time within a year. Amazing, isn't it? The next and fascinating technique used for cultivation of potatoes in the southern region is growing potatoes in rice paddies. The growing urbanization and soil degradation, the worst affected is the cultivation of crops. So the International Potato Center came up with the idea of growing potatoes in rice paddies in winter. This crazy method will help boost food security, farmer incomes, and sustainability. From the research, it was found that rotating rice and potato crops in paddies will generate both economic and ecological benefits. And the amazing fact here is this technique has played a vital role in eradicating poverty in rural China. Previously, the majority of the potatoes were grown in the northern region of China. However, now southern China is also at par and producing the equivalent amounts of potatoes. Multiple cropping was an old technique in China. However, growing potatoes in the paddy fields that too during dry cold months was a variation. The rising demand for potatoes in Hong Kong and other regions anticipated this new and efficient technique. Almost 16 million hectares of rice paddies are cultivated in winter, so now it's easier to imagine how easily farmers can get an extra source of income by cultivating the potatoes in the same paddy fields. This rice-potato rotation is quite common in the Guangdong region of China, and also there's still room for expansion in Yunnan and other provinces as well. Some of the associations in collaboration with the local farmers and facilitating the expansion of rice-potato sustainable intensification by breeding early maturing disease-resistant potato varieties. Now jumping onto the northern region of China, where most of the farmers practice the single-crop techniques to grow crops. Previously, and also today, many small-scale farmers use animal-drawn implements and small tractors for the entire cultivation process. In such small-scale farmings, there are several constraints like no proper irrigation facility, fertilizer applications are rare, and pesticides are not used. However, large-scale farms opt for advanced techniques and procedures for the cultivation, planting, fertilizing, spraying, and harvesting of potatoes. Most of the potatoes in the northern region are cultivated at a similar time of the year. In the off-season, very few farmers opt for cultivating potatoes as there is a lack of storage facilities and limited transportation options, which eventually leads to lower demands. However, with improvements in the agriculture sector, farmers chose consolidated farming, and so huge areas are cultivated at the moment. With increased needs, there's also a rise in demand for production and mechanization, including planting, nutrient management, disease control, weed control, and harvesting. What modern equipment is available for potato production? China is equipped with an excellent potato harvester that harvests the most consumed vegetable from the farms with ease following a systematic format. You have a series of machinery that are used to navigate potatoes from one part to another. When it comes to harvesting fruits and vegetables, their major cost involvement for the production is harvesting. So with a better harvester mechanism, it'll be beneficial for companies as well as for the farmers. To keep a track of proper fruit and vegetable harvesting, there's specially designed harvesters like orange harvesters, strawberry pickers, and much such equipment. Previously, this harvesting job was workloaded, intense for farmers as it needs to be accurate and completed within a time span. However, this tedious job is now taken over by integrated machinery, and it's quite reasonable for every farmer to opt for such machinery, as these significant investments can do wonders economically and also yield-wise. So wrapping up for today's video, these modernized techniques are crazy for potato cultivation. Soon, China will be producing more and more tons of potatoes with innovative techniques which no other nation might have even thought of. Now, it's pretty clear how China has paved its way to being the world's largest producer of potatoes. Sure or not? What are your thoughts on different techniques used in northern and southern China? Will China soon be the major producer and exporter of potatoes in the world? Do let us know your views in the comments below. That said, if you enjoyed watching how China has developed in the last few years, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more such exciting content. See you in the next video.